published by Washington University in St. Louis, by Verma, and by Choi from South Korea. More fatal cases accrue. There is the father of a boy here in this room who's died of myocarditis. One death is too many. We have 21,000 cases of myocarditis and climbing in the United States that the CDC has verified. One was too many.
One is.
Under no circumstances, under any circumstances, should a young person ever receive one of these vaccines, let alone ever be pressured to receive a vaccine, let alone ever be mandated to take a vaccine.
The school should
This
be
is crystal
sued.
clear. The FDA agrees. There can be no controversy over this. There can be no normalizing of this. To say that it's mild or it's transitory.
Talk about that, because that's what they say, it's mild. Is myocarditis mild?
I'm telling you, as a specialist, myocarditis is not mild. There are papers by Shower and by Trong at University of Utah Salt Lake. When they do MRI on these individuals with suspected myocarditis, 100% are having heart damage. 100%. We have a paper by Tishopia and colleagues looking at the outcome of individuals prior to COVID in this age group with myocarditis. 13% will have permanent heart injury. 32% never actually get up to normal. They don't get back to normal. We are seeing unprecedented numbers of athletes dying on the field in Europe.
Absolutely.
Unprecedented.
I watched them all.
Cardiac arrests, half of them don't come back. We now have a report out of the Heart Group in the UK where
nucleosides. What are those non-natural
Part three.
nucleosides doing? He talks about the toxicity of them, the pseudouridine. None of that is being discussed. None of that.
So
I want to
can
clarify a
understand
little
that,
bit
and I agree with you.
there, okay?
We need a lot more information.
I want to clarify because people have said this are mRNA vaccines. mRNA only always goes to protein, and we can't do anything. First, we know that people have reverse transcriptase. Yes, it can make DNA. Yes, it can go back into the DNA. But there's something else about RNA. RNA can make little hairpin loops. RNA can regulate your DNA. So when it for positive or for negative, it can change your gene expression, and there's stuff in there that can do that either intentionally or unintentionally, and we don't know. It's completely unethical because we are just beginning to understand
in the peer-reviewed literature on myocarditis, sadly showing the rates of myocarditis are far in excess of what the CDC ever imagined. We've identified that boys have a predilection for this far more than girls. The maximum age group, the peak age group is age 18 to 24, so it's actually the college age. The risk extends up to age 50. And I can tell you that in this age group, it is clear the risks of the vaccines are far greater than the risks of COVID-19, the respiratory illness. Two papers, one by Tracy Hogue at UC Davis, one by Ron Kostoff, that these papers have been presented at the FDA meetings. They have not been challenged as analyses. And there are now fatal cases of myocarditis published by Washington University in St. Louis, by Verma, and by Choi from South Korea. More fatal cases accrue. There is the father of a boy here in this room who's died of myocarditis. One death is too many. We have 21,000 cases of myocarditis and climbing in the United States that the CDC has verified. One was too many.
One is.
Under no circumstances, under any circumstances, should a young person ever receive one of these vaccines, let alone ever be pressured to receive a vaccine, let alone ever be mandated to take a vaccine.
The school should
This
be
is crystal
sued.
clear. The FDA agrees. There can be no controversy over this. There can be no normalizing of this. To say that it's mild or it's transitory.
Talk about that, because that's what they say, it's mild. Is myocarditis mild?
I'm telling you, as a specialist, myocarditis is not mild. There are papers by Shower and by Trong at University of Utah Salt Lake. When they do MRI on these individuals with suspected myocarditis, 100% are having heart damage. 100%. We have a paper by Tishopi and colleagues looking at the outcome of individuals prior to COVID in this age group with myocarditis. 13% will have permanent heart injury. 32% never actually get up to normal. They don't get back to normal. We are seeing, I have a report out of the heart group in the UK where actuarial mortality for those under age 15, mortality in the UK is higher than expected.
Absolutely. I see him.
Dr. Malone,
Just real quick.
I'm gonna have to go to part 3.
I wonder if Dr. Malone could follow up on that.
Just real quick. 'Cause
We are now very eager to hear from you how you see the future of Ukraine. Welcome very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here for the first time. I'm the president of Green.
Voiced concerns about the potential development of biological weapons near Russian borders, including the spread of diseases through insects.
Понятно, что в таких центрах могут проводиться исследования не только в интересах санитарно-эпидемиологического благополучия населения соседних с нами государств, поэтому сам факт масштаба медико-биологической деятельности Пентагона именно у границ России вызывает у нас особое беспокойство. Возникает законный вопрос об истинных целях такой военно-биологической активности Соединенных Штатов Америки.
Cardi B speaks too much on live and gets muted.
I talk a little funny, my dialect is crazy. But just because I talk how I talk, it doesn't mean that I'm dumb, and it doesn't mean that I don't know simple ass shit. Like simple ass shit that's going on literally on the news. And let me tell you something, I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned about people because as I fucking talk on Twitter about this whole Ukraine, Russia, America shit, people talking about like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about, or I know this is not Cardi talking, bro. This shit is literally on the news every single day. Do y'all just look at the news that they only post on celebrity gossip sites or celebrity gossip pages? And I want to know, do you guys just only watch celebrity gossip pages and that's how y'all get your news? If so, y'all are embarrassing. And when I talk about topics like this, don't get on the comments talking about I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This shit is very simple to understand. I probably know a little bit more about it because I love history and I just love history, so I know a little bit more about like the history and I'm sorry, I just get nervous of how I talk. I feel like I have gotten anxiety because you guys criticize me so much. I have gotten anxiety with speaking. But anyways, let me just explain it to you. It's very motherfucking simple. And Western northern countries, including motherfucking America. America is one of, let me make it very simple how people will understand it. America and Russia don't get along with each other. They've been competing with each other to see which one is the fucking greatest country since the Cold War. That's why America said that it was the first one to go to the moon, all of this bullshit, blah, blah, blah. The whole point is, Ukraine wants to join NATO. Russia don't like that. Why Russia don't like that? Well, Russia is really close to motherfucking Ukraine. They're right next to each other, like literally, like fucking going from Jersey to New York. That would.
She's been cut.
I found Epstein in a children's playground.
What are you doing here, bud?
Waiting for somebody.
You look like Jeffrey Epstein.
Nope. Don't know that guy.
Bank of France money-making plant caught on fire yesterday
the 9th of February 22.
Have you employed a replacement?
Have I employed a replacement what?
A replacement for your chief of staff?
Yes, I have, but the person has not yet commenced.
Who is that?
Well, it's none of your business, quite frankly, who it is. You don't normally name staff, Senator Cameron. We go down a very dangerous
It's not none of
line.
it. Senator,
when
you
start
know, you've been
naming
around
staff.
such a long time. You're supposed to be a lawyer, and you know that anything that deals with public expenditure is a legitimate area to ask a question. And that's what I'm asking.
Well,
It's a simple
the particular
question.
person has not yet commenced in my office, so there is no public expenditure involved.
Has it been?
Point of order, Chair. It's certainly a well-accepted convention on Senate committees that staff are not unnecessarily or needlessly named where it's not relevant, and I can't see what the relevance is here of this person's identity.
Agencies that you oversee?
No.
Did this person, your new chief of staff, will he or she come from some other Liberal political office?
Well, Senator Cameron, again, this person is well qualified and has been taken on board because of their skill set that they will bring to my office.
Oh, it's a simple question. I'm simply asking. Did it come from another Liberal office, or he or she?
Again, Senator Cameron, it is not, you would normally not discuss staff matters for very obvious reasons. I mean, if you want to start discussing staff matters, be very, very careful, because I'm happy to sit here and name every young woman in Mr. Short.
Okay, so this is my unvaccinated blood, which I've never done this before. I don't know if this is healthy blood or not, but this is my blood. Just a small drop on brain microscope I got 10 minutes ago. All right, and then this is my roommate's blood, and they are triple vaccinated with Moderna. Need to get a good, and this is the same magnification, same, the time of the blood is the same when we took the sample. We can try to zoom in out, but you see that there's no movement, very little movement. Wow. It's a huge difference.
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's absolutely insane.
I'm not seeing any like the. Look at this. Look at this part here. Look at. Like that to me looks clouded. If I
Something that
see a blood clot.
everyone can do at home.
I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm just a
Look at a
fucking guy
smear
with a
of your own
microscope.
blood
but
and compare it to somebody else's vaccinated.
That's.
You'll see
Moderna
complete
blood.
difference.
No, not. Here's another sample, but look at the difference. It's not moving.
People
I
that are
see some white blood
vaccinated are
cells.
slowly.
Right? I don't need that. Does that stretch you out? And then this back to.
Wow.
But it's really cool.
It's fucking
So I had to.
wild, dude.
We are now 14 hours into Russia's war on Ukraine. There's heavy fighting across most of the country. Ukraine called upon anyone who can hold a weapon to attack the invaders. Russia claims to have disabled some of Ukraine's military infrastructure. The Ukrainian military has reportedly lost a lot of aircraft and armor, but it does appear to be holding its own for now, with at least 6 Russian fighter jets having been shot down. There's also fighting in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, with officials warning that fighting could destroy nuclear waste storage facilities. There's also heavy fighting around the airport surrounding Kyiv, and air sirens are screaming throughout the city. And NATO has activated Article 4. Follow me to stay in the loop because...
Interior.
Air Force is on record as saying, quote, they want to control the weather by 2025, and we are not talking about just seeding the clouds for rain. Of April this year, there are more than 150 different weather modification programs around the world. Since about 2000, the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have been spraying the entire United States sky with a toxic brew of chemicals and other biologic agents. Military and some commercial jets have been fitted with huge barrels of at least 49 different kinds of documented chemical poisons. Among other documented ingredients in this toxic man-made clouds are pathogenic molds, fungi, weaponized viruses made in some places like
in the history of the human race, and I never engage in hyperbole.
Do you foresee this happening again
Yes.
and again and again in the future?
There's no doubt in my mind. In the name of health, you can suppress liberty in America. This is just the first time. They will do it for global warming. About 1/3 of mom and pop businesses will go out of business. So therefore, whereas you now had Jerry's restaurant, you will now have another chain, another Subway, another Chipotle, or what have you. So you will still be able to eat, but it will end or begin to end the ability of people to run what we really enjoy, which is a local restaurant, where you know the people, they know you, where the food is better than at a chain. And so the country will be run by gigantic businesses. And the only reason this happened is because of the people who said 2.2 million Americans will die. So far, 50,000 have. And if you believe it's because of the lockdown, I have a bridge for you. Because Sweden didn't have a lockdown, and it has a tiny percentage more deaths than we do. The United Nations, the UN, which I'm not a fan of, the UN just issued a report. Nicholas Kristof reported this, big liberal columnist, New York Times. 36 countries will experience famine because of this lockdown. The number of people who will die because of the lockdown may be greater than the number of people who died because of the illness. It's what is happening in the world because of this idiocy. India, 1,300,000,000 people, sends people out of work in the hundreds of millions. 800 people have died in India. There are probably more people who are run over by cows in the course of a year in India. That was a joke, for the record. This is the greatest error in the history of the human race, and I never engage in hyperbole. Thank God for Sweden, because that's why the quote-unquote experts, they are the most overrated group of humans on Earth. Experts are almost all idiot savants. They know their field, and they have no wisdom. So they are...
And fibrous, and it bifurcates or it splits off. Tell us how you found this. First of all, how did you come upon this? The length of the person's leg, is that correct?
It's almost the length of the leg. That white fibrous looking stuff
just isn't normal. This white virus stuff is pretty strong. It's not weak at all. This is a person that I had come to find out was vaccinated. A lot of bodies have been very clotted, and
Clots. And to be clear, Richard, confirm for me, you did say that these are mostly you're seeing them and pulling them from veins, not arteries. Is that correct?
yes, but on this one here,
Yes.
I also got one out of the artery as well, which is unusual. I have here lately, it seems it has the appearance of like small worms. I've had someone that was in the embalming room with me one night, and there was a whole bunch of them coming out in the blood, and his words were, it looks like heartworms for people.
Now, are these structures that you're saying resemble like worm-like things, were they separate from the clot that started with the blood and then the long piece coming out of them?
Usually they're together.
This is just incredibly shocking. I'm sure from the human aspect, what are your thoughts on what you're seeing?
I feel like personally, I started seeing this stuff more and more from the middle of the year. Last January was the busiest I'd ever been in my career. It just so happens that's when they started rolling out the vaccine. Most people will not see what I see. Doctors, when they draw blood, they can't see this stuff. I saw a video months ago where they were describing vaccinated blood, and they were showing this like structure inside of the blood, this white structure, and that was on a microscope, of course, or something like that. And when I saw that image, it was like, this is what I'm seeing. I'm involved to have something like this.
But before 2020, like from 2019 and earlier, you've never seen this specific type of combination clot. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
This appears to be true of primitive peoples since the earliest times in the world's history. On December
No, it's not. It's wrong. It's propaganda. They normalize it. That's the next generation. Yeah. I don't know why no one sees this. No. This is something. Because TV told them not to get upset and wear the mask. Watch and learn what bravery looks like. Saying no to propaganda. This is propaganda. Propaganda. Nothing. Look at this. They're coming for your children. They have a fat pass than a vaccine pass. Yeah. Because guess what? Most of the people in ICU are overweight. So we don't want a fat shame, no. The government is pushing you to eat bad food, shitty food, so you stay fat. You stay fat and unhealthy. Easy to die from COVID shot.
Ó, enroscada, municiada, enroscada aqui, né? Ó, ela vai ser enroscada, enroscada. Aqui, ela, depois de enroscada, eu tirei a munição por questão de segurança. Simples, aciona, fez o disparo, tá vendo? Fica atento aí nas abordagens aí, policiais aí.
The fuck?
Really?
You can see people getting arrested just behind me. Activists have called a protest against the war in Ukraine. A couple hundred people maybe tried to come out, but police have been arresting people left and right. I myself was just arrested and put in that police van back there. The lieutenant came, checked my documents, let me out in the end. But many other people weren't so lucky. I saw at least a dozen people in that police van. They're being taken away. Another woman now being arrested behind me. Police are grabbing pretty much anyone who tries to unfurl a banner, say anything, or even just stand on the across from the square right now. Lots of riot police. Every now and then people start chanting no to war, but they quickly stop when police begin arresting people again.